Whenever you ready, my brother.
Studio lights flickering above the booth at 4 a.m. Studio lights, the only language that the engineer condemn. Every chapter of the gospel that the writer keeps the phlegm. On the microphone, studio lights, the only mayhem. Engineer says drop the verse again because the first one's shaky. Studio lights, the only chapter where the rapper acts not snaky. About the chamber where the writer been singing for the cakey. Moment of the platinum, studio lights forever the achy. Listen for the way the engineer is just a pop filter. Listen for the way the writer woman up the kind of jilter. Studio lights, the only chapter where the rapper is the wilter. Other language is the apex of the moment of the tilter. Of the soundboard where the engineer been mixing every channel. Studio lights, the only language that the chamber finally panel. Every faded that the engineer been pushing up the manual. Studio lights forever in the chamber of the analog channel.
That one was clean. Let me bounce it real quick. You wanna hear it back? Are you good?
I'm good, let's keep moving, give me the second beat. Studio lights, the only language that the chamber finally meet. With the rapper at the apex of the moment of the sweet final hook that the engineer been waiting for to see. On the master that the bloodline gonna play across the city. Studio lights forever in the chamber of the gritty. Final chapter of the gospel that the writer been a witty. About the moment when the rapper finally crowned it pretty. Listen for the way the engineer finally cracks a smile. Listen for the way the writer finally walks the extra mile. Studio lights, the only language that the chamber for a while. Studio lights forever in the chamber of the rapper style.
Studio lights, burning all the way through every night. Studio lights, every verse another chapter of the fight. Studio lights, engineer the only witness to the height. Studio lights, this is what the chamber carries in the bright. Studio lights. Studio lights.
Engineer says we got it. Studio lights.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Wrong turn. Story of the cousin who decided he was tired of the corner where the bloodline always told him don't get wired up. In a moment of the chapter that the elders been tired of repeating. Wrong turn, the only chapter the rapper required. He was 18, fresh out of high school with a diploma. Wrong turn, the only language that the bloodline ever told me was the gospel of the chapter that the elders been the doma of. Since the moment that the city been the only kind of soma. He met a brother at the corner with the promise of the easy. Wrong turn, the only language that the bloodline never queasy. About the chapter where the lesser ones predicting it was breezy. Wrong turn, the only verdict that the writer ever sleazy. First month, easy money, every brother smiling at the cousin. Wrong turn, the only chapter where the bloodline got the buzz. Another warning that the elders gonna pass to the muzzle. In a writer in the chamber where the gospel been a cousin. Second month, the cops are watching every corner of the area. Wrong turn, the only language that the chamber ever wary of. Wrong turn, the only chapter that the rapper carry. Wrong turn, the only verdict that the bloodline ever parry. Third month, the cousin sitting in a precinct holding bail. Wrong turn, the only language that the chamber ever failed to deliver. Wrong turn, the only chapter on the trail. Wrong turn, the only verdict that the bloodline got a hell. Mama crying at the courtroom, cousin facing 7 years. Wrong turn, the only language of the bloodline's bitter tears. Every chapter of the gospel been a warning over years. Wrong turn, the only verdict that the writer always fears. Cousin doing time and writing letters every Sunday. Wrong turn, the only chapter that the elders ever fundamental chapter for the children of the bloodline who will wonder. Wrong turn, the only language that the city ever thunder about. And now the writer's writing every chapter for the cousin. Wrong turn, the only language that the bloodline keep on buzzing. Cousin gonna read the chapter when the prison let him cousin. Wrong turn, the only chapter that the rapper ever cousin. Wrong turn, wrong turn. Pass the warning for it. Wrong turn. Yeah, yeah. Dear 16-year-old me, I'm writing from the kitchen of the future. Last letter, the only language that the writer ever suture. Of the wound that the city carved before the gospel grew the moocher. Last letter, the only chapter that the rapper ever butcher. You don't know me yet because I'm 15 years away from where you sitting. Last letter, the only language that the chamber finally fitting. Of the writer at the moment when the gospel finally pitting. Of the rapper against every imitator finally quitting. First thing, mama gonna make it past the diagnosis. Last letter, the only language that the bloodline never hypnosis. Of the chapter that the elders been a carrying every prognosis. Last letter, the only verdict that the writer ever cirrhosis. Second, don't quit when the verse you wrote at 20 don't land. Last letter, the only language that the chamber understand. Every chapter of the gospel that the writer is the candle stand. Last letter, the only verdict that the rapper finally planned. Third, the girl you met in college is the one you marry later. Last letter, the only language that the bloodline ever catered to. Last letter, the only language that the writer's been a stater of the gospel of the bloodline. Last letter, the elevator of the chapter that the elders gonna carry through the years. Last letter, the only language of the bloodline, silent tears. Every chapter of the gospel where the writer finally clears up the doubt that he was capable. Last letter, the gears. Fourth, keep writing every single day, no matter what the verdict. Last letter, the only language that the chamber ever perfect. Every chapter of the gospel that the elders gonna circuit. Last letter, the only verdict that the writer is the merit. Final thing, I love you, brother. Every chapter of the gospel. Last letter, the only language that the bloodline ever apostle. Every chapter of the writer that the elders ever jostle. Last letter, the only verdict that the rapper ever hostile. Sign it, your future self. Every chapter of the gospel. Last letter, the only language that the chamber ever apostle. Last letter, the only verdict that the elders ever jostle. Last letter, forever in the chamber, your future apostle. Last letter, sealed with love. Last letter.
Say you feel the limb that isn't there, long after the doctors took it away. I've been feeling the chapter that the city took from me. Yeah, phantom limb, the feeling of the brother that the city took. Phantom limb, the only language that the writer ever shook. Off the bookshelf when the moment of the gospel had a look. At the chamber where the writer carried every kind of hook. He been gone for 7 years and still I feel the brother near me. Phantom limb, the only language that the chamber gonna clear me. Of the chapter where the rapper finally had to finally hear me. Phantom limb, the only verdict that the bloodline never steer me. Listen for the way the writer never let the chamber empty. Listen for the way the rapper finally found it kind of plenty. Phantom limb, the only chapter where the bloodline never bent. Phantom limb, the only verdict that the elders ever sent. Phantom limb, still I feel you here when the day is dim. Phantom limb, every chapter of the gospel is the hymn. Phantom limb, that I sing into the chamber of a brim. Phantom limb, of the moment when the bloodline say amen. Hey, yeah. Mama keeps the photograph above the kitchen of the cabin. Phantom limb, the only language that the bloodline never grabbing. Every chapter of the gospel where the elders been a rabbit. Phantom limb, the only chapter where the writer been a stabbing. At the chamber where the brother used to sit and play the records. Phantom limb, the only language of the elders, solid guardians. Every chapter of the gospel that the bloodline never guards. Phantom limb, the only verdict that the writers never charge. Listen for the way the chamber finally feels the brother's presence. Listen for the way the bloodline finally finds the only essence. Phantom limb, the only chapter where the rapper finds a lesson. Phantom limb, forever in the chamber of the Quiet storm brewing in the chamber, with a rider holding breath. Quiet storm, the only language that the bloodline keep the death of the lesser ones at bay. Quiet storm, the only depth of the chamber that the elders gonna carry to the breath of the bloodline forever. Quiet storm, the only patience of the rider at the apex of the moment of the basis of the gospel that the elders gonna carry to the spaces where the children of the bloodline gonna carry every traces. Listen for the way the rider never breaks the kind of silence. Listen for the way the chamber finally finds the only science. Quiet storm, the only language that the chamber finds defiance. Quiet storm forever in the moment, the rider's reliance on the language that the bloodline carries through the generations. Quiet storm, the only chapter where the rapper finds creations of the gospel of the future. Quiet storm, the elations of the chamber where the elders carry every kind of nations. Now the storm is finally breaking. Quiet storm becoming louder. Quiet storm, the only language where the rapper getting prouder of the patience that the rider kept inside the chamber's powder keg. And now the language is exploding through the powder chamber where the elders been awaiting for the rapper's verdict. Quiet storm, the only chapter where the rider finally verdict of the gospel of the bloodline. Quiet storm, the perfect storm of the language that the elders gonna carry through the surface. Listen for the way the rider never let the chamber waver. Listen for the way the rapper finally let the language flavor. Quiet storm, the only chapter where the bloodline finally savor. Quiet storm forever in the chamber of the rider's labor. Final round of storm is everywhere. The chamber finally open. Quiet storm, the only language that the bloodline ever spoken. Every chapter of the gospel that the rider finally broken through. Quiet storm, the only language that the elders woken up to. Every chapter of the gospel finally landed. Quiet storm, the only chapter where the rapper's understanding of the moment when the bloodline gonna carry every bending of the children of the future. Quiet storm, the standing. Quiet storm. Quiet storm. Wait for the moment. Quiet storm.
Brother's keeper since the moment that the mama brought the second home from the hospital. Brother's keeper, the one who reckoned with the chamber where the bloodline of the future would be reckoned. Brother's keeper, the only language that the rapper finally beckoned. I've been carrying the weight since I was 4 and standing tall. Brother's keeper, the only chapter where the writer never fall off the wagon when the brother needed someone in the call, or the moment when the lesser ones predicting the downfall. He was 7 when the doctor said the lungs were getting tighter. Brother's keeper, the only chapter where the writer is the fighter of the chamber where the bloodline carries every kind of brighter version of the future. Brother's keeper, forever the lighter of the bonfire where the elders been a warming up the brother. Brother's keeper, the only chapter where the rapper never bother with the lesser ones who never showed up for the brother. Brother's keeper, the only language that the bloodline never mother. Now we 28 and brothers working at the hospital. Brother's keeper, the only chapter that the writers always saw. The moment when the brother finally said he wanted to draw up the prescription for the children of the chamber's claw. I've been writing every chapter knowing brother was the witness. Brother's keeper, the only language that the chamber kept the fitness of the writer at the apex of the moment of the brightness. Brother's keeper, forever in the chamber of the rightness. Listen for the way the brother's voice comes through the speaker. Listen for the way the writer never let the chamber weaker. Brother's keeper, the only chapter where the rapper is the speaker of the gospel of the bloodline that the elders been the seeker. Now we sit at Sunday dinner with our mama at the table. Brother's keeper, the only chapter that the writer ever able to deliver. Brother's keeper, the only chapter stable in the chamber of the writer's gospel. Brother's keeper, fable of the bloodline that the elders gonna carry through the ages. Brother's keeper, the only chapter that the writer ever stages at the apex of the gospel. Brother's keeper, the wages of the love that the bloodline carries through the killing cages.
keeper. I got you forever. Brother's keeper. Concrete garden where the sunflower grow through the crack. Concrete garden, only language that the city won't lack. Every dandelion stretching toward the moment of the black. Top is asphalt, but the ceiling never gonna back down. Concrete garden, the rapper as the only gardener of the language of the bloodline that the city been a part in. Concrete garden, only chapter where the writer hardener of his patience in the chamber of the lesser ones, the gardener. I've been watering the chapter with the words I've been sweating. Concrete garden, only young boys that the writer's been said in every chapter of the gospel where the bloodline's been afraid. Concrete garden, only chapter where the writer been a getting. Listen for the way to be the sense upon the only flower. Listen for the way the rapper finally finds a kind of power. Concrete garden, only chapter where the lesser cannot tower. Concrete gardens born forever and the rappers only young. Concrete garden, where the seedling never gonna harden. Concrete garden, every flower asking for the pardon. Concrete garden, where the bloodline plant the only pot done. Concrete garden, this is what the city carries in the garden. Mama plants to the meadow when the planter on the fire escape. Concrete garden, only language that the city can't drape. Every chapter of the gospel that the bloodline's been a shape of. Concrete garden, only chapter that escaped the clutches of the city that the elders gonna garden. Concrete garden, only chapter where the rapper hardened of his focus on the chapter that the lesser ones garden. Concrete garden, forever in the moment of the pardon. Listen for the bass of growing in the planter on the window. Listen for the brother harvest in the moment of the kingdom. Concrete garden, only chapter where the rapper's been a window. Concrete garden, for forever in the chamber of the spindle. Concrete garden, where the seedling never gonna harden. Concrete garden, every flower asking for the pardon. Concrete garden. Concrete garden. Where the bloodline grow. Concrete garden.
Mirror talk, the writer asking questions to the version of himself. Mirror talk, the only language that the writer can rehearse himself. Why you keep on writing every chapter when the bloodline helps sell will eventually arrive. Mirror talk, the writer in the shelf cell of the chamber where the rapper finally has to face the version. Mirror talk, the only language that the writer's been excursioning through every chapter of the gospel of the conversion of the boy to the master. Mirror talk, the only diversion. Question, what's the point of every chapter that I'm writing? Answer, language is the only thing that's worth the fighting. Question, what about the children of the bloodline biting at the heels of every chapter? Answer, that's the lighting of the chamber where the elders pass the torch to the apprentice. Mirror talk, forever in the chamber of the writer's repentance. Every question that I ask myself is just another sentence. Mirror talk, the only language of the writer's repentance. Who are you? I am the writer who is bound. What you want? To make the language sing. Why you stay? Because the bloodline rings. When you leave? When the language no longer a thing. Who are you? I am the writer of the scene. To make the chamber clean. Why you stay? Because the language bends. When you leave? When you lag, when the bloodline question, was it worth the years of giving up the family time? Answer, every chapter of the gospel that I drop is in the rhyme. Question, what about the sister and the brother who would climb? Answer, every dollar I have earned is in the chamber for the time. Question, what about the elders who had warned about the danger? Answer, every elder in the chamber is the language of the stranger. Mirror talk, the only chapter where the writer is the grandeur of the bloodline that the elders pass the children. Every dancer of the language at the apex of the moment of the writer. Mirror talk, the only chapter where the rapper is the lighter of the bonfire where the
goodnight to myself. You're a dog.
Block party in the summer when the city finally exhale. Party every brother and the sister know the trail that the elders carry through the chapter of the local female. Lining up the chairs on the sidewalk for the rapper's tale. Getting that album that the bloodline been waiting for. Block party the only language that the bloodline keep restored. On the corner of the street where every brother locked the door. And the children running everywhere like cattle on the floor. DJ on the turntable with the speakers from the 70s. Block party the cathedral where the elders give the 7 keys to the children of the future who have always been the steady kneel beneath the moment of the elders giving every kind of leverage. Listen for the auntie on the grill with the brisket and the sausage. Listen for the cousin on the corner with the bottle and the courage. Block party the only chapter that the city ever leveraged. Block party the only language that the bloodline keep encouraged. Block party every year. Party louder now. Party all year. Party block party. Everyone party louder now. Party got the sun. Party. Now the rapper grabbed the mic, the engineer set up at 4. Block party the only language that the bloodline ever swore. Every kid on the corner gonna know the rappers raw. Block party the moment when the bloodline opened every door. Children dancing on the grass, the elders in the lawn chair, watching every minute like the photograph of every prayer. The elders been delivering since the right up in the air. Block party the only chapter where the bloodline don't despair. Listen for the way the auntie scream when the rapper dropped the verse. Listen for the way the elders nod because the language never worse. Black party the only currency the bloodline never nurse. Black party forever in the chamber of the city's curse. Black party every year. Party louder now. Party all year. Party. Final verse, the sun is setting and the children getting tired. Block party the only language that the bloodline ever wired. Every elder packing chairs and every brother getting fired up about the moment when the city gonna be required to remember every chapter of the gospel of the block. Block party the only chapter that the elders ever clocked. Block party forever in the chamber of the bloodline rock. Block party the gospel of the city that the writer lock. Block party. Block party. See you next year. Block party.
Cold hands wrapped around the coffee at the bus stop in December. Cold hands, the only language that the city can't remember. Or the writer waiting for the route that never seems to render. On a schedule that the city posts but never can deliver. I've been waiting in the cold for 30 minutes for the 70. Cold hands, the only language of the writer at the pent up edge of every chapter that the elders been a rent up. For the children of the bloodline who have never had a tent up. Listen for the way the wind cuts through the layers of the jacket. Listen for the way the writer never lets it break the racket. Cold hands, the only currency the city ever packing. Of the writer when he writing in the chamber of the racket. Cold hands forever in the moment of the waiting for the chapter. Cold hands, the only language of the writer who's the raptor. Of the silent observation of the city that's the captor. Cold hands, the only chapter
nods because he know me. Cold hands, the only language that the driver ever showed me. I take my seat by the heater, cold hands, they slowly told me stories that the city kept inside the chambers that controlled me. I've been riding routes like this since I was 9 in the navel. Cold hands, the only chapter that the writer ever stable. Of the bloodline, the elders, been a sailor for the cable. Of the network of the children who have always been the able. Listen for the way the heater finally warms the writer's pocket. Listen for the way the rapper finally finds the kind of socket that the lyrics finally fit in. Cold hands, the kind of docket of the writer who's been writing every chapter from the rocket. Cold hands, waiting for the bus to take me where the road expands. Cold hands, writing every chapter while the city understands. And the snow gonna fall while the writer's still writing. And the rapper gonna live while the city's still fighting. Cold hands gonna soften when the chapter is the lighting of a candle in the darkness of the bloodlines reuniting.